Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for January 3rd. We're currently looking at the U.S.-Japanese yen pair. This particular pair closed higher on the previous session. It did gap down just a little bit, about 12 pips. We are looking for it to close that gap. It's already come very close to that already. It has pulled back a little bit since the open, but not, excuse me, not that significant of a pullback. We are looking for this pair to continue moving higher with a bias to the upside. Look for this pair to potentially move as high as 93.25 and hit resistance there, possibly moving lower and hitting support at 91.88. Okay, now let's take a look at the Euro USD. This particular pair closed lower after moving much higher in the previous session. It did gap down 24 pips at the open. It has already filled that gap as expected, happened very quickly. We are looking for this pair to continue moving sideways as it has over the past several sessions. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 145.07, possibly as low as 142.38. Look for some resistance around 144.40 and look for some support around 142.38. Okay, now looking at the pound US dollar pair, this particular pair closed higher. Overall, it's moving sideways so far, biased slightly to the upside currently. We did get a significant gap, 64 pips from previous close to today's open. We are looking for that gap to be filled. It looks like it's gone almost halfway. It is on its way up. We are looking for this pair to potentially go as high as 163.23, possibly as low as 159.53. Look for some resistance around 162.37 and look for some support around 160.47. Okay, now let's take a look at the US Swiss. This particular pair closed down after having a very large range to the downside, pulling back within the range that it had from open to close over the past couple of sessions when the market was light. Moving sideways, we are looking for this bias to continue sideways. We had this pair gap up just a little bit at the open, not that significant of a gap, 10, 12 pips, somewhere in there, and it has already filled that gap as you can see. We are looking for this pair, however, to potentially move as high as 1.0437, possibly as low as 10233. Look for some resistance around 10388 and look for some support around 10319. Okay, there's really no news announcements going into this next section. I saw two things that I wanted to talk to y'all about real quick. You need to switch to the 4-hour time frame for that. We are on the Euro USD. I do need to back out just a hair. Okay, we basically have a head and shoulders formation, somewhat of a head and shoulders. It's not the normal head and shoulders, but if you take the high here, we have another high here and another high here. So we have a head and shoulders type formation. If you draw your trend line from this low over to here, we have not broken our trend line as of yet. Definitely look for it to break down to this area, about 25 pips. Then I would look for it to break down to here about 60, taking these lows into consideration here, 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 and here. Now, ultimately, this low would be the furthest target from here if you look to short at the basically the break of the trend line right here. Now, one thing we're going to look at is this is the Euro USD. We're going to look at the US Swiss, and I'll show you why I'm not looking at that one as a head and shoulders formation. If you notice, take note, if you notice that we have the high here and we closed during this time frame, we closed below the high. So we have a close that's here, we have a close here, and of course the close here. So our closes are below the high for the first point in our head and shoulders formation. Now, if you go over to the US Swiss, you may be asking yourself, well, shouldn't we have an inverted head and shoulders where we have a shoulder, the head, and then the shoulders? And it does form that to some degree, but I would say this is more of a double bottom, and I'll explain why. If you notice here, we have, let me redraw that, we have a low, and we have another low. and we have closes here that are below, closes and opens that are below the the shoulder part here, the first shoulder. If these had closed in this area, then I'd look at it more as a head and shoulders formation as opposed to a double bottom. Usually double bottoms are not, they're within a range, and right here we have a range. It's, you know, if you take a look at exactly how wide that range is, from the lowest low to the highest high, it looks like it's about a 19 pip range, but the low to low here is about 5. So the difference between these two is not significant enough for me to consider them outside the realm of support that you normally see and that we saw with the Euro USD. One other quick note that you may want to take a look at, we're looking at the pound US dollar pair. This particular pair, draw a trend line here for this 4-hour low. If we get a break to the downside, not sure this will happen, but if it does, you could look to go short. Definitely look for a potential pullback here, another potential pullback here, and then finally one here. And these are kind of your levels. You're looking at the top at this point, you're looking at the lows in here, and then you're looking at the lows in here. But this could be another potential profitable trade for you, looking to go short, going to break even, and then hopefully just watching it run on down to this point and go ahead and exit. Well, that pretty much sums it up for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.